Whether it's Democrats, Republicans, socialists, communists, liberals, or even conservatives, aren't you tired of them acting like petulant children, lying with their claims while the rest of us are left twisting in the wind, not sure what's real and what's propaganda, finding it harder and harder to pay the bills and put food on the table while they line their pockets with our money, mind you? These people are the ones who get us into wars. We're just content going to work every day and communicating with family and friends while they play the very real world version of Risk with our lives and livelihoods at stake. After last night's State of the Union, in which we were told that everything's okay or that everything's going to be okay, while it's clearly not, these people have clearly gotten too comfortable in lying to the American people to cover for their shortcomings as leaders. Remember when Biden first won the 2020 election? Remember all the socialists, Democrats, like AOC and others that wanted to put Republicans, conservatives, and Trump supporters in general on lists so that they can easily identify the fascists? Well, I have a list of my own that I came up with to merely say that we know of your lies and we see you. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me one more time for another edition of the best kept secret in the conservative movement, Things That Need to Be Said. For MRC-TV, I'm Nick Kangadis. Really quick, I'd love it if all of you could head on over to Rumble, subscribe to our channel, and hit that plus button. And no matter where you watch our videos, please like, share, and don't be afraid to leave a comment. I love to read what you guys have to say, and I couldn't do what I do without all of you. Now, on with the show. Let's get started with pretty much all of our Defense Department and the lemmings that push narratives based on political partisanship. Of course, I'm talking about the recent Chinese spy balloon mess.
It's been there stationary for about the last 35 minutes. It's about 5:30 on Wednesday, February 1st, 2023.
The Chinese lied and said the balloon just went off course and they lost control of it. First, if you believe anything coming from the communist Chinese government, we're here to have a helmet fitting just for you. After that narrative fell flat, then it was the Pentagon that said they couldn't shoot down the balloon because it posed a risk to the public in Montana. Besides maybe Wyoming, if you were to shoot down a balloon anywhere over land, Montana's vast open land seems like a pretty good choice. But no, that didn't happen, did it? So, then what happened? Well, the Biden regime allowed the Chinese spy balloon to traverse the entire continental United States, and once it was off the coast of South Carolina and over the Atlantic, then they shot the balloon down. But before all that could happen, we supposedly got some BS story that originated from the Department of Defense that Chinese spy balloons hovered over the US multiple times during the Trump administration. Of course, after several former Trump officials debunked that claim by claiming themselves that no one in the Trump administration was ever told about any balloon, let alone 3 of them, then the narrative changed to, well, NORAD missed the flights, so neither Trump nor his people were told of these alleged balloons ever existing. The Pentagon wasn't informed until after Trump left office. Nice cover. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, who do we believe? We still don't know the absolute truth about what may or may not have occurred concerning spy balloons during the Trump administration. Former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe probably had the best take on it, saying that if this had happened during Trump's time in office, the establishment media would have been all over it.
The American people can refute it for themselves. Do you remember during the Trump administration when photographers on the ground and commercial airline pilots were talking about a spy balloon over the United States that people could look up and see even with the naked eye, and that a media that hated Donald Trump wasn't reporting? I don't remember that either because it didn't happen.
Now, Biden himself is saying that he authorized the Pentagon to shoot the balloon down days before it was actually shot down, but military officials, as I said earlier, didn't want to put people at risk. A couple of thoughts here. First, if that were true, he's the president. The military works at the behest of the president. So either the military told Biden to F off, or he never actually told anyone to shoot the plane down, at least when he said he did. Second, if Biden actually gave the order, they would have said something sooner. But again, they didn't. The bottom line is, the Chinese felt emboldened enough to fly at least one spy balloon, that we know of, over the continental US because they understand that the Beijing in Beijing Biden is there for a reason. We have weak leadership in our federal government, despite all their bluster and yelling at people. Like Teddy Roosevelt once famously said, speak softly and carry a big stick.
I'm just getting started.
Joe's lost the stick, and his inactions speak louder than his words. Although, to be fair, his actions that have been preceded by his words are what's gotten us in the current situation we find ourselves in as a country. And just a few thoughts on the State of the Union address. For anyone to actually see what's going on in this country and say the state of our union is strong is smoking the same stuff Hunter Biden does. Well, it's not Parmesan.
Probably smoke more Parmesan cheese than anyone that you know, I'm sure, Tracy.
If you talk to your garden variety leftists, they'll push CNN and MSNBC talking points about how strong our economy is. But I think they're only talking about how it's going for themselves, because if you actually look at the price of everything, you'll know something's off. However, a leftist will tell you that all of this is because of COVID and the effects it had on the economy during the pandemic, except for one very important thing that a lot of people seem to have forgotten, and it pisses me right off.
And here we go.
Our federal government, both Trump's and Biden's, gets off easy when it comes to the draconian measures the American people were put under because they only gave guidance or suggestions or advice. But our state and local governments are the ones who carried out the sentences on behalf of the federal government in order for them to escape culpability. How soon we forgot about the lockdowns and the mandates and the get a medical procedure or lose your job BS. And the establishment mantra of, you're a danger to society if you don't get the previously mentioned medical procedure. You remember the threats? You remember how the government practically got your neighbors to the point where they would turn on you if you didn't go along to get along? This is what our government does. If they're not lying, they're manipulating. Now, perhaps the most telling thing that Biden said during the State of the Union, which revealed his Obama level of manipulation and socialism within him and the people that write what he says, was,
I'm a capitalist, but pay your fair share.
I'm not going to give you too much more, except a couple of quotes that encapsulates what fair share really is and how we should avoid it. The following was written for the Foundation of Economic Education in 1993 by the late president of the Institute for Christian Economics in Tyler, Texas, Dr. Gary North. Bear with me, these are important. When a politician speaks of everyone paying his fair share of taxes, he always means the rich should pay a higher percentage of income than the poor. Meanwhile, politicians offer to the middle class, the eligible voters who actually vote, their fair share of the loot that will be stolen from others by means of the ballot box. Almost no one questions the legitimacy of using the ballot box to confiscate the wealth of others. The debate centers around who should pay their fair share, someone else, and those who will collect their fair share, us. One question is never raised in public. What will be everyone's fair share of judgment when the political theft process produces economic disaster and political revolution? Everyone assumes that disaster can be deferred at least until after the next election. Everyone assumes that the bills will come due later. Someone else will have to pay them. But eventually, bills come due, okay? Everyone get that? That takes care of what fair share means, along with the mentality when government always, eventually, runs out of other people's money. Here's what North concluded as the things to avoid as well as do concerning fair share. This will eventually lead to an economic crisis and a loss of confidence in the prevailing social order. It is then that principled men must say no to the politics of the fair share. They must be ready to present both a moral critique of the culture of spending and a technical critique. It is not enough to show enraged, envy-driven voters that the welfare state has failed to deliver the goods. Voters must be reminded that their own false morality has led them into a crisis and that repentance, a change of mind, is necessary for social healing. The culture of spending must be shown to be the moral low ground, not just an inefficient solution to the problem of scarcity, unquote. Folks, anyone can sit here and spout numbers at you of why or why not a specific thing works or doesn't. If you look hard enough, you'll eventually find the numbers that suit your argument. It's a big back and forth game that the government plays at the expense of you, your family, and your friends. That's easy. What's difficult, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn here, but what's difficult is being able to speak on your own and say the things that need to be said. So, how many people am I going to piss off this week? Hopefully a ton, but does that mean these weren't things that needed to be said? Let me know in the comments, where I do read most and reply to some. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel on Rumble and hit that plus button. If you like this video, don't forget to share, comment, and give it a thumbs up. Those are the best ways to help these videos reach more people, and it's the best way to let us know you want us to keep these videos coming. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so that YouTube might actually let you know when MRC-TV comes out with a new video if they haven't censored it or taken it down yet. Like us on Facebook, check out more of our work at MRCTV.org, and if you want to support our content and the conservative movement, head on over to mrc.org/donate to help us out, since we're a nonprofit and couldn't do what we do without all of you. For MRC TV, I'm Nick Kangadis.